The restaurant was warm, buzzing with gentle laughter and the clinking of silverware, but the man seated in the private corner felt none of it. Daniel Hart, a quiet billionaire known for his calm presence and philanthropic heart, watched his daughter pick at her food with unusual silence. She was never this still, never this unsure. But tonight was different. Tonight, 8-year-old Lily couldn't take her eyes off the table beside them, where a young single mother and her little boy sat over a nearly empty plate they were trying to share. It was the kind of sight Daniel had spent years trying to shield his daughter from, not because he wanted her naive, but because he didn't want her to feel helpless. Yet Lily's eyes were filled with something he had seen only once, on the day she asked him why kids on the sidewalk had no shoes. A pain deeper than her age should allow. When she finally spoke, her small voice trembled with emotion that pierced the noise of the entire restaurant. She asked him a question that would change everything. "Dad, can I share with them?" If you believe in kindness, compassion, and second chances, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness so more hearts can be touched by stories like this. Daniel's breath caught because he knew his daughter meant more than just sharing food. Something inside her had shifted, and he felt it. He looked over at the mother, her hair tied back hastily, her clothes worn but clean, her eyes exhausted yet fiercely protective. Her little boy kept whispering that he was okay, even though he was clearly hungry. A sudden storm of guilt washed through Daniel. He had spent his life building empires, attending charity galas, and signing checks worth millions, yet somehow real suffering, real silent battles like this, had slipped right past him. The mother was trying to stretch a meal that couldn't be stretched any further, pretending to enjoy her food so her son wouldn't worry. It wasn't food, it was a performance of strength. He granted Lily's request with a soft nod, and she slid off her chair with the hesitant bravery only children possess. She walked toward the mother with her plate held in both hands, almost trembling at the thought of crossing an invisible line of pride and privacy. But when the young mom finally lifted her eyes and saw the child offering her meal, something inside her broke. Her lip quivered, her shoulders shook, and she stared at the plate as if it were something she hadn't seen in years, not food, but kindness without price. As Lily gestured back toward her father, the mother looked up at Daniel with embarrassment forming like a shadow across her face, the kind of embarrassment poor parents carry when the world mistakes struggle for failure. Daniel stood and approached her gently, not as a billionaire, not as a man with power or influence, but as a father looking at another parent on the edge of collapse. He could see the story hidden in her trembling breaths. She was holding too much, too alone. Her name was Emily, and life had not been kind. Her husband had abandoned her months earlier when she lost her job. She and her son, Noah, had moved through cheap motels, shelters, and finally a cramped single room behind an old laundromat where she worked part-time. Every day was a battle between survival and hopelessness. She fed her son first, always, even if it meant she went hungry for days. She never asked for help. She never begged. But tonight she had miscalculated how far she could stretch $1, and Noah had been hungry since morning. Daniel listened silently, absorbing every detail like a man realizing how blind he had been to the quiet tragedies around him. The more she spoke, the more he noticed the small things, the rip in her jacket sleeves she kept pulling over, the way she glanced around as if expecting someone to scold her for being helped, the way she held her son close as if someone might take him away. She wasn't weak. She was exhausted from being strong for too long. Lily sat with Noah, sharing her food and laughing softly, giving the little boy a glimpse of childhood he rarely got to feel anymore. And in that moment, Daniel felt something shift inside him, not pity, but responsibility. The kind that comes from seeing the world clearly for the first time. He invited Emily and Noah to join their table, and though she resisted at first, humiliation pressing down on her like a weight, she eventually accepted. As the night went on, Daniel listened to her entire story with a patience and gentleness she hadn't experienced in years. Her struggles weren't dramatic, they were the quiet, relentless kind that suffocates dreams. When the restaurant closed, Daniel made a decision he didn't announce with grandeur or charity-like ceremony. He simply told her he wanted to help. At first, she refused, shaking her head, clinging to her pride like a safety net. But Noah looked up at her with hopeful eyes a child shouldn't learn to make so early, and she knew she couldn't keep walking the same painful road just to prove she could walk it alone. Daniel arranged a safe apartment for them, paid for groceries, and connected her with a stable job in one of his companies. But more than that, he gave her dignity. He didn't rescue her, He walked beside her until she could breathe again. Weeks passed, then months. Emily blossomed into someone she had forgotten she could be. She worked hard, earned promotions, and became a role model to other struggling mothers in the community. Noah grew stronger, happier, no longer the child who counted crackers as meals. And Lily, she gained a lifelong friend, someone who would eventually call her his little sister. But the moment that truly changed everything happened much later, when Emily showed up at Daniel's office with tears in her eyes, not of sadness, but of gratitude so deep it couldn't form words. She had saved enough to stand on her own feet again. She didn't come to say goodbye, she came to say thank you. Not for the apartment, or the food, or the job, but for giving her back something she'd lost the day her husband walked out, hope. Daniel realized then that his daughter's simple question had done something no amount of money or power ever could. It had restored a life. It had healed a family. And it had awakened a part of him he didn't know had fallen asleep, the part that understood true wealth wasn't measured in dollars, but in the lives you lift when no one is watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness so more people can experience the power of compassion in action. Special request: before this video ends, comment below, kindness can change a life.